Phillips. He's kicked 9 goals, 11 this season. 45 out, directly in front. Doesn't make sweet contact. It'll drop short. It's still alive. It's a goal. And the crowd just come up on screen. 53,034 premiers for the second time in 3 years.
Hi folks, and welcome to a KFitt Athletic interview with professional AFL football player from our own very close neighbours in Kilmahel. And Ailish is at home over the lockdown, and she's been training with us, albeit under the elite rule, I might add, which is perfectly allowed. And she's on her way back to Australia the day after tomorrow, so we decided that we would do an interview with her and just get a little insight on the life of a number 16 substitute goalkeeper from Kilmahel that blazed the trail all the way to Adelaide and is a very, very valued member of the Adelaide Crows setup. And just we were talking a little bit earlier, I remember Ailish when I was privileged enough to be involved in a very talented and ambitious West Clare Gales team, and Kilmahel were their real rivals at the time. I'm sure Ailish remember she could have only been 14 or 15 at the time when she played corner forward. They actually beat us in a replay, which I haven't forgiven her for, her sister. I remember her as a completely, like, albeit very, very talented player, but a different physical specimen than she is now. And I don't know if you can appreciate on camera of the absolute serious condition that she's in, but maybe she'll tell us a little bit about the journey from corner forward with Kilmahel and Clare substitute goalkeeper to being an absolute specimen at professional football level in Australia.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that actually, because being like the sub goalkeeper, it actually happened like back in close enough to that time. For I think it was the Clare under 16s at the time, and obviously Emer was flying at that stage, and I was kind of the one in the shadows. The poor relation, yeah. Exactly. And I was kind of that year, like as you said, I was a different physical specimen at the time. So while I was quite skillful and all that kind of thing, I was never really fit enough to warrant my space on a team. So they kind of gave me the option of being a sub goalkeeper or nothing else really on the Clare 16s team. So it's funny now that number 16 has followed me along the way, and it's a very different meaning. But,
yeah. You're number 16 at Adelaide Crows also, yeah. What a coincidence that is.
Yeah. So like it's a very, very different number 16 meaning at this stage. But at that stage I was skillful, had all the football in the world, had all the understanding, but couldn't probably run from here to the ball without being out of break. So I suppose the transition kind of came really when I went to college in Tralee, because I started studying health and leisure, and I suppose it kind of gave me an insight into the S&C side of things. And at that stage then I was playing college football, so I kind of started a training regime where I was kind of going all year round with the college season.
Brilliant
and stuff.
stuff, yeah.
And I played Camogie down there as well, so there was kind of a constant training system going, and instead of putting on the college weight, I actually ended up losing it, and in the first 2 years I kind of lost a lot of weight because I was training so much, and it was just the constant load, and then I suppose been away from home, not cooking as much, and having the dinners ready for me. It kind of helped me.
So you're blaming mommy's cooking as well as everything else. I heard you were home 4 days a week when you were in college. So you've done a little bit of research. You were definitely home 3 days a week.
I was. I'd say I kept the ferry going at that stage. I got very homesick in Tralee. But my mother's a feeder, so I'm not going to blame her totally. But
how did you find that as, we'll say, a young athlete or a young girl playing at underage level? How did you find that weight? Was it like, did it hold you back? Were you conscious of it? Like, did it?
I was hugely conscious of it. Like throughout my childhood and
would it have knocked your confidence from playing, even though you were highly skillful?
Majorly. I would have never seen myself as a good player even back then. Like I would have appreciated that I would have had a bit more skill and stuff, but I would never have seen myself as a good enough player because I was never fit enough. I was never fast enough. I wasn't making teams like at underage level, so like it definitely knocked my confidence back, not being as, you know, physically fit as Emer, and like I could see what I should be and what, you know, I needed to be at, but I could never, like I didn't know how to get there, and I suppose I kind of cowered away from that because if it just seems too hard, it was just like, and with low confidence, you you sat in the back seat and kind of just really, you know, hid behind it.
What would you say to 13 or 14-year-old girl playing underage football at a club in Clare that might struggle with the same issues, that might have that skill level, and that might, what advice would you be able to give to them? Like, what would you say now if you were able to give yourself advice back then?
Yeah, I guess just ask for help, because that was something that I didn't do, and I guess I didn't really know where to start, and I didn't really have anyone in the family that kind of had an SSC background or kind of knew the right way to go about it. In fairness, my mother never...
Your mother should have become an SSC.
She should have. It's one thing she didn't have in her pocket. So I think just actually getting like professional help in that sense, like yourself, like having someone like you, like to come to and go and do a few sessions with on my own, like probably would have, you know.
Oh, thanks, Bruce.
You know, it would have made it a bit easier rather.
Did you know I knew that, Bruce?
Brucey. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the chocolate fudge cake. I was at that stage. But like just having someone to go to, because I think you kind of get lost in a team environment, and they kind of really don't have time to specifically look at you and give you, it's very general, and it's kind of the general run of program, general gym program at that stage. So I think just having someone to like say, look, this is what you need to do, and this will make you fitter, this will help you, or you know, you maybe need to cut back on this type of food, or maybe eat more of this type of food. So I think I didn't really have any of that, and because my confidence was so low, I kind of didn't seek the help, and I kind of just hid behind it. Didn't really have any motivation to change it because I didn't know how to go about it.
Okay, yeah.
So
it's funny you mentioned the motivation thing there. We often talk about it. We might have even had this discussion. I'm a great believer that action comes first. You know, we wait sometimes for motivation, whereas motivation comes, I think, after you take the action. But you don't really know that until it's too far down the road, I think. You know?
Yeah, no, I can see that now.
Yeah, but I heard you like to sing. I've been making a few phone calls in the background, just in case anyone doesn't know. But I heard a little bird told me, living in Dublin teaching. Told me that one of your hidden talents is actually singing, and that she sneaks into the choir in Kilmaine Church and ramps out a few tunes every Sunday, or certainly every now and then, and I believe it's not on a solo or two. So what inspired that? You just like to sing, do you?
Not that I like it, I guess the whole confidence thing is another thing behind that, because like I'm not a confident person, so I do not do that very often. But my aunt is in the choir in Kilmaine, and she's a great woman to just force you and put you to the microphone, and just you're there on the spot, and then it's either sink or swim. So I suppose in later years now, I probably, you know, would be only a little bit more confident to do it, you know, if someone actually says it to me. But no, it's not a...
Is there a choir in Adelaide?
No, there's not a choir in Adelaide, and no, I will not be participating in a choir in Adelaide. But I can sing, and that's why people kind of force me to it.
Okay,
like a few people that know I can't sing, they're like, you're actually really good, just do it. But no, I don't think I'm very good.
Tell me who would have been a sporting inspiration to you? Who would you have admired in sporting circles?
It's probably very simple to say, but probably Emer, because I've always had her to look up to, because and to look at, to be honest, because generally when she was playing, I was the one sitting on the bench inside and watching her play. So no, like she's just put in, like her hard work alone is just something, you know, it's something I can admire, because to be fair, I always had the skill and didn't have to work hard on anything. I'd pick up a new thing, and within 5 minutes I'd have it mastered, and that was just me always. Whereas she would be as awkward as the damned picking up something new. It would take her ages and ages to actually master it, but like her hard work and commitment to actually do that and master it and become elite at that level of sport, whatever it may be, whatever she put her mind to, she achieved that. So She was a great inspiration, and like she just worked very, very hard for everything that she did.
And great to have someone like that so close to you. So it's
Yeah.
supposed to show, I suppose, hard work beats talent, and talent doesn't work hard.
Exactly, yeah. She's
But for Ailish to say that about Emer is something else, because I've seen how hard Ailish works in the gym. As I said, she's been training with us over the last few months, and it probably kind of inspired us to talk to her a little bit about it. But her application and dedication to her, certainly her gym work, we don't see her run work. She gets in her jalopy with no steering fluid and drives tennis, filling it up along the way to get there to do her track work and her speed endurance and her conditioning work. But like, it's phenomenal, you know, it's great to watch. It's great to see somebody really apply themselves and absolutely cut no corners, which is fantastic. Another thing I was finding out about you, I have it here somewhere written down. You have the loves of your lives, I believe, are 2 cats. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm a real cat person. Although I do.
How do you survive without them?
Do you know what? It's probably one of the hardest things, because you can FaceTime home. You can FaceTime everyone that's here, whatever. But you can't FaceTime
talk
cats.
to the cat. No,
They don't understand FaceTime. So yeah, like it's strange when you're used to having pets and stuff around the place, and used to having them cuddling you and that kind of thing. And they're kind of the one thing that you can come home to and they'll put a smile on your face, because they never say a word to you, and they'll just be there and be there for company, like dogs and like any pets that you have.
There's a shot of the dog there, never leaves the couch.
Part of the family, like, so it's hard when like you have nothing over there, because like I don't have any pets over in Australia, and you miss them, but
You'll find something else.
They remember you when I come home.
Yeah,
so
that's
half the battle. If they didn't remember me, I'd be devastated. But
what is the typical day in the life of a professional footballer from the time you get up in the morning? How do you?
Yeah, so we go with the training day and how it follows on. So normally for me, I like, because Australians get up so early, like their day starts at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Most times, so I'd probably get up in around maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock. Probably go for a walk early enough in the day, before the heat becomes too much, and then probably go out for a coffee after breakfast, because I actually love Australian brunches and cafes. They're unbelievable, and they're just everywhere anyway in Adelaide. So that would take up a bit of the day. Probably go to the beach and go for a dip, depending on how sore the legs are and stuff, and then just like fuel and stuff, and water is important on training day, and then probably head to the club early enough, then maybe 2 or 3, and watch a bit of video footage for me to catch up on stuff and kind of get used to the games and that kind of thing, and then just kind of prep to train then from then on, or any meetings.
How many sessions in the week would you do, like pitch and gym sessions in total? How would that?
So we do about 3 pitch sessions a week, and then maybe 4-ish gym sessions, split between upper and body, lower.
Okay.
So that would be like the typical week, and then
Would you have complete recovery days?
Yeah, we'd have.
Okay, so you'd be like gym AM, pitch PM, or
Yeah.
however it worked out for you, and then you might have a couple of those and then a complete recovery
there'd be
day.
a couple of complete recovery days depending on the load during that week, because the loads kind of gradually increase and then decrease depending on the weeks and stuff. So
even in season, during, we'll say, championship, or would the gym program stay at 4 times a week, or would you flip over maybe to 4 gym sessions or 4 pitch sessions and 3 gym sessions? Or is it kind of?
They'd keep the gym pretty constant. The load will probably reduce, and as the second upper body would become optional.
Okay.
So depending on how your body's feeling and how you're feeling in season.
Okay.
It would depend on that. So
would it be fair to say, alright, how would you say that that kind of strength and conditioning routine has improved your performance, your confidence? Would you say, how much effect has it had on you?
Initially, like I probably would be a well-seasoned gym goer at this stage, and it's probably been maybe 6 years of constant gym. And initially, my main reasoning was injury prevention, because I couldn't stay on the pitch because I kept getting hamstring niggles or whatever it was, and it was mainly hamstring niggles, and I just kind of was sick of that. So I kind of stuck at a gym routine, and that really helped. Like I've had very minimal injuries since, touch wood, and it'll continue that way. But in terms of soft tissue stuff, it's been way reduced since I've been constant.
Brilliant, yeah. And that's consistency,
Yeah.
I would think, you know, if you kind of have that
Consistency.
consistency.
And then on the flip side then, it's obviously, you know, helped with body composition, and it's changed how I perform.
It's almost a byproduct of your hard work.
Exactly,
Yeah,
it's a byproduct of the hard work, and, you know, obviously become stronger, I'm able to move better, like everything about that has made such a difference. Like I'm running better, everything that I've done, especially in the last, let's say, 2 years since I've joined, or last 3 years since I've joined the AFL program, it's just gone to another level again.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah, and you can see it. I can see it in your training. What's your max squat at the moment? Just
90 kg for 5, which is a bit more than my body weight. I'm currently 62 kg at the moment. So
and your bench is way up there as well. Like it's
bench 62 for
60.
So
which is
body weight.
great going. Which is really, really impressive. And again, as I say, if you saw this lady in a t-shirt, you'd know all about it. She got bigger guns than everybody in here. Next to Josh and Penny. I suppose another interesting question I'd like to ask you, Ailish, is what else is important to you? Like sometimes we think, I suppose, sport defines the person, or we kind of associate Ailish or such and such with that particular sport. What's important to you, like outside of sport? What makes you tick?
I suppose number one for me is probably family outside of sport, and I guess the lockdown has been a blessing for that, because I've been able to spend so much time at home, which I haven't been able to do in quite a while, between coming and going, between everywhere and anything. So I think, like family is obviously a huge thing to me, and been able to spend time with them, even just spending time with them the last few months and stuff, because Emer obviously has been up and down between Dublin and the lockdowns. So it's been nice to be able to do that. And even like friends as well, like I've been able to reconnect with friends again, because you know you get lost when you're constantly in different time zones and travelling away and coming and going and everything. So it's that, in fairness, the lockdown has been pretty good for that. I've been able to, reconnect with people and spend more time at home, which is nice.
Brilliant, and you really kind of get a chance to reassess and kind of set everything up. And as much as I know you miss Australia, because she bangs on about it every day. She can't wait to get out of here. But just something else that, and I know again, that kind of, I suppose, struck me. Kilmale is such a small place. You've happened to produce yourself and Emer out of one household. And Adele McMahon, who's not too far up the road, like for such a small parish, like with a small community or a small population, they've pretty much managed to dish out 3 professional athletes playing at an extremely high level, you know. And for women in sport, I think, and as a dad of a daughter, I find it like inspiring, and I really, really kind of admire and kind of, I suppose I'm curious how that happens. Is it something in the water in Kilmale or something? Like, is it your environment? Is it the environment that I suppose has the knock-on effect? I suppose it's one thing to understand that you would have been inspired by Emer, and I mean you have to have the talent obviously, and then Adele kind of came around the corner by default from being late for a football session or something, you know, or so the story goes. Like, and it's really, really kind of positive, isn't it? A kind of positive community story or local story.
And I think we've given the GAA to thank for a lot of it, because it was a great starting point. Like it was something that we progressed at from a very young age, and I remember Reig and Rose Dory going to those sessions as under 8s, under 10s, whatever it was. So that was a really good starting block for us, and I think I'll speak for me and Emer, but like we played multiple sports as children, and Mam was the cause of that. Like she literally was our taxi from a young age, and we were brought around to everything. We played football, camogie, soccer, volleyball, basketball, like whatever it was. And even when Dad and stuff used to go to America and come home, he'd bring home baseball bats, he'd bring home American footballs, everything. We just had every sort of equipment piece at home, and we just played with that. And I think that was a major development for us, as well as having the football on the side and as the background and as the main thing. But like we just developed so many different skills and a love of sport. No matter what it was, we just loved it and played it. So I think like the multi-sport thing was definitely something that helped us progress. But also having the football and I suppose the talent to progress at that and play county and all that kind of thing, really brought us forward, and then having the mix and match with Camogie as well at a high level. So
it's brilliant. I think the encouragement at a young age is so important, because there is a lot of talent around it that maybe that encouragement isn't always, maybe it could be a bit more. I suppose there's a fine line between pushing a kid and kind of, nurturing them along. You really have to know where the line is, you just got the balance right. Fair play to your mother, she did a great job.
She did, in fairness, and I think because she let us play so many, like, we never got sick of one sport.
Yeah.
And then it was.
And you develop a whole range of skills, like hand-eye coordination and multi-directional.
And you learn from other sports and you bring it into your own sport, and I think it gave us the opportunity to actually specialise and pick a sport that we wanted to do and pursue as we got older. Because in fairness, we couldn't keep it all going. Like at that stage, we were coming 15, 16, we were playing 6 different sports, training 6 different times a week for different things. So we had to specialise, and we picked football and Camogie. And that brought us to a great level, because at the time, like, we were Clare senior Camogie, like we were going really well, almost making All-Ireland semis and stuff, so and winning Munster finals against Cork, like crazy stuff. And then 2010 we were senior for Clare football, so like we had some really good days against good teams. And so like we played at an extremely high level then when it did come to it, and I suppose that helped us progress then to the next level. And I think the step away from football, while it was quite a hard one, and from Camogie and stuff, it's difficult to leave that behind, but it was probably the stepping stone that we needed to take to actually progress more into the next side of things. Like if we had stayed and continued, I don't think either of us would have ended up getting to where we are today. But I think taking that step away and taking the leap that we both
really helped you both.
Really helped us actually just go for
Speaking of the next level, tell us a little bit about playing in the AFL. I know I'm jumping on a little bit now from Kilmahan to Adelaide, but like the excitement that how many you played the grand final in your first year in the States, and you kicked a goal, man, as far as I know.
I was looking up Aaron's shot up short, and I was around the back.
You hung around and got in there, But I mean, how exciting was that? What would, I know there are huge stadiums, 80,000 or 60,000 seater stadiums. Like, how full is that stadium for the grand final, mate? And how exciting is it to run out in front of, it's a big difference between running out, even playing football with Clare or playing with Kilmahan or whatever it is, to run out in the grand final in Australia. It's got to be. Gary actually maintains that you're more famous than your sister, because there's more people in Australia.
True.
But no, But tell us a little bit about that, about playing in front of that kind of a crowd and the excitement and the buzz and like that kind of a feeling.
It was absolutely insane. Like, even just think back on it now, it's like initially when we were doing the warm-up and stuff, there was probably maybe 20-25,000 there. People hadn't fully come in yet. That's all. People hadn't fully come in yet, and we didn't really take any notice. But like the stadium filled, like Adelaide capacity is 53,000, and there was 53,200 something there.
And your mother flew out for that. I remember actually reading something in the paper about the club champion at the time.
The three of them flew out. Mam, Keith and Emer, and I knew Mam and Keith were coming. I didn't know Emer was coming. She was a surprise the weekend. So they came for 2 days. They were in Adelaide for 2.5 days, and then flew home. Like, I remember, like, during the game and stuff, didn't really take into consideration how many people were there, and it was when I was on the interchange and I was just about to come on that it came up on the screen of the attendance, and it was 53,000. And I remember me, I think it was Hannah Martin was beside me, and the two of us just looked over each other like, oh my god, and we just kind of stood and we just did a whole full circle and looked around at the crowd, and this was like well into the game. It was probably into the third quarter, and like we were well up at this stage. So
you knew we had it won.
We had it won at that stage.
So we
were able to actually take in the moment and take in the crowd that was there, and it was incredible. I was like, I thought I'd never see the day where I'd be playing in front of a full stadium as a woman. That was the thing, and then to be able to see the Irish flag hanging down in the stadium as well. It was a special moment and a special day, and to actually win at the end of it all, it was absolutely.
It's fairy tale stuff, really, isn't it?
You couldn't write it.
Yeah. And another thing that kind of, I would have watched a lot of men's Australian rules. There were, I suppose, the compromise rules back in the late 80s or middle 80s were kind of really popular when they used to come over here. Noel Roach from Kilkee played in all 4 tests when the first Australian trip came over here. I think might stand corrected in this now if anyone wants to correct me, but the first time they came to Ireland, he was the only player to play in all 4 tests at cornerback. Wow. But they were horrible fuckers on the field, like the Australians, like the violence was, you know, and the GA lads weren't really up for that now. They could have picked a team that were up for it. The sledging and the mountain and the giving out, and I mean, we've all done a little bit of it in our time to try and put the opposing players off. But what's it like in the women's game in Australia? Is it as bad as the men's game, or is it?
Yeah, I can't say if it's as bad or whatever, but it's in the game. It's definitely in the game, which is a huge surprise to me because coming from ladies football, I'm not sure. I know it's in the men's GA game. I know there's a certain amount of sledging that does go on, but it's not in the women's game. I can tell you that, like, for sure. That there's
in ladies GA,
football,
okay.
It's not there. It's very rare. You might come across it once every now and again, but it's very, very rare.
Okay.
So it's a real shock to the system when you're in the middle of an AFL game and you're actually witnessing it happen to one of your players, or you're witnessing one of your own players doing it to someone else, and it's just a different world, and it's just part of the game there. It's part of the culture of the game and stuff like that. So it's very strange, and I remember I've only really had one kind of experience with it, and it was in a VFL game, and I was taking the set shot, and I remember her just saying things about, like, oh, don't miss it, or that kind of thing. Nothing personal, because, like, in fairness, they wouldn't really know me, whereas a lot of other girls would have, you know, they'd
personal issues that they
know each other
and
that kind of thing. So they had nothing really personal on me to go with. But I remember, it's funny that you just come across it so often, especially the set shots. Like, that's when kind of really hits the fan, is when you're kind
Have you ever sledged anybody?
I haven't, because I don't know anyone well enough. So
I can't imagine you sledging anybody.
I wouldn't be much of a sledger anyway.
I can't imagine it,
yeah, it's a different environment. I suppose you kind of just have to be able to put the blinkers on, and I think I'm probably luckier that I'm coming into the game at an older age. I think if I was a young whippersnapper coming into this game from a ladies football background, I'd be completely naive and wouldn't know what to deal with, because it's tough. Like, it's tough to take, like, the mental side of things when, you know, you're already under pressure. I think physically anyone will take hits and stuff, but kind of when people start messing with your head, it's kind of a different story to deal with.
How do you take losing? What does that feel like when you lose a professional game, or when you lose in that setup?
It's frustrating. It's tough because you literally are putting all your time and effort into that. It's your full commitment. It's your full, like, job. It's your everything you're training for, and then to not perform on the day, or to not be on the right side of the result, it can be hard to take and hard to bounce back from, especially in such a short season, because it's week on. So it's tough to take, but you really have to park it.
Can you enjoy the wins, or are they short-lived? I often hear guys in professional, especially in rugby. I remember listening to Ronan O'Gara and these guys, and said they never really enjoyed the wins enough. You know, it was too short-lived. They were on to the next thing, and it was like, okay, let's move on. And some of the regrets you get from the impression from listening to pro athletes is that they don't enjoy them enough. Do you enjoy them enough? Like you say?
Probably not. No, to be honest, because it's pretty much like the losses. It comes around on the games on Sunday. You have the rest of the day to either dwell on it, enjoy it, or be sad about it. And then come Monday, week starts again. You're not focusing on that game, and you move on, and you're focusing on the next task at hand. So you probably don't get as much time to really appreciate the wins either, because a lot of the time when you're winning, you're not really learning, whereas when you're losing, you're learning. So there's not really much to take from the wins other than the bit of confidence boost on the table kind of thing. You kind of just you take the win, you appreciate it, and then you move on. And same with the losses, you take the loss, you learn from it, and then you move on. It's kind of it's a constant
ongoing cycle.
Unless it comes to the end of the season and it's a grand final, then yes, that is well and truly well celebrated, I can tell you that. But
so what are your chances looking like? Ailish is going back the day after tomorrow, I know I mentioned that already, and they're kind of in pre-season. What are your chances for this year? Are you hopeful that there might be another grand final appearance? Should we be watching this space?
Look, it's hard to know because so many teams are really progressing really quickly throughout the comp as well. And I think last year we were probably, affected our performance a little bit at times. But I think a lot of those injuries have cleared up at this stage. Most people are back from their serious ACL injuries, so we're kind of looking at a full pick again, which is great. And you know, that's a real positive sign for us because we have a great squad. Like we've some serious players in our squad.
You've been home now for 8 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
8 months. Are you nervous about breaking back into that squad again after being gone for so long, or are you?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. You're going to have to be really slogged out to get you back in there.
It'll be tough because it's been 8 months away and 8 months of non-contact training and been away from the girls and been away from the game. So like once I get back and after the 2-week quarantine, it's only January when I get back with the squad. So I'll only have about 3 weeks with the squad training, and then we have our trial game, or potentially the season will be moved forward a week or something like that.
So the professional athlete's life ain't that glamorous. You've been quarantined for Christmas. Yeah.
Quarantined for Christmas, yeah. I'm out at Stephen's Day, so
okay.
Hotel room workouts will be keeping me going for the next 2 weeks once I get out there. So yeah, like it's a big ask. Well, and the girls will be on their Christmas break once they get out there. But as soon as I'm out of quarantine, I'll be straight into training to try and catch up, I suppose, over with the last time that I've had over the 2 weeks. So like it's a big ask. It's an uphill challenge to try and make it into the squad for match day and stuff. But look, I've worked as hard as I possibly could have while I'm here, and I've had great.
Well, we can definitely vouch for that. And one more question is, what's your favourite gym and why is it?
KFitt, of course.
Where's your favourite place to train and why are we? I think I have one more for you, Ailish. I'm conscious about keeping you too long. What advice would Ailish have for a young aspiring athlete that's playing football at the club level that might have the skills to pay the bills at some stage? What advice would you give them, or rather give their parents?
Parents keep going. I think for me anyway, definitely, like I was far from polished diamonds at an under 12, under 14. Like I wasn't making any teams. Like I didn't make any county team until I was fully of that age.
That gives me hope for my life.
Yeah, like so honestly, like, and a lot of players that were sitting beside me on the bench are not playing football anymore. They're not playing any sort of sport anymore. So I guess the only thing I can say is perseverance and just stick at it, because it wasn't glamorous. Like for me growing up, like I had low confidence. I didn't make very many teams, and when I did, I probably didn't play very well when I did. But like I kept going. Like I stuck at it, and I worked hard. Eventually, when I had the knowledge behind it all, and I worked on myself and tried to get me a better player as I got older, and that helped with the confidence side of things. So I guess if you do have talent and stuff, don't waste it. Like do work hard with what you do and persevere, and you'll get your break eventually. And it took me maybe 7 or 8 years before I really caught a break in sport.
Yeah.
Like, all that hard work and all that effort that I put in to actually keep them going eventually paid off in the end. So it might take
the break, yeah.
It might take a couple of months, it might take a couple of years, but it will come around if you put the hard work in.
Good stuff. There you have it, folks. Our very own Ailish, and just on behalf of us all here at KFitt, we want to wish Ailish the absolute best of luck in the next chapter, and wish her a Merry Christmas. And it was a pleasure to have her here over the last few months. Pleasure to watch her train. We picked up an awful lot from her, and she was really iconic to have her own place. So we wish her all the success in the world. Thank you.